Welcome back. Real short update here. So, I have been working on the tile layer demo, and I was having some issues, and they all stem from the fact that up until now, I have been working with nothing but 32 by 32 pixel tiles. And I couldn't figure out why things just weren't quite working the way they were supposed to, and then I realized a lot of my older code, even though I've rewritten a lot of things, has survived over several rewrites where I had stuff hard coded at 32 by 32. So I had to take a look at some other parts of the code where changes needed to be made. I don't want to spend a lot of time working on the tile layers because they're going to have to be rebuilt when the transition to Vulkan is complete. But for the sake of the demo, there are some things I need to fix. I guess I could just leave them the way they are and make all of the tiles 32 by 32 just for the sake of simplicity. When the refactoring into Vulkan happens, I can take care of the issue with tile sizes being hard coded. I'd rather go ahead and get that out of the way though. I figure the transition to Vulkan will require some things to be rewritten. So a lot of stuff can remain pretty much exactly the same. Now, when it comes to using the API, that should not change. Any programs written right now that make calls to fuselage will pretty much run identically once everything gets moved to Vulkan. To the developer using fuselage, everything happening on the back end is going to be completely invisible anyway. So the function calls should remain the same, and only a few that I can think of will have any changes to their parameters. So I think pretty much everything can go over to the new versions without any changes. We'll see how that goes though. But for right now, I am working on that demo, but it's kind of a shame that I'm making a demo showing how to use my own API, and none of my calls were working because I hard coded values into the functions themselves. And rookie mistake, but I thought I'd already fixed all that, and I guess I haven't. So I've got a few days off. I'll be working on all of this over the next few days, so expect something real soon. The first part of this video series is just going to be some theory explaining how the tile layers work, what they are capable of, what you will use them for, and why the fuselage text layer and the fuselage tile layer are not the same thing. Like, you will not use the text layer to present text in your game. A game written will be using the tile layers for text. The text layer is for the engine only, so you'll see error and statistics and warnings and stuff like that coming out through the text layer. It'll be overlaid over all output. It'll be for debugging or stats like frame rate and whatever, features that are turned on and off in the virtual machine. Basically, you should not see any output from the text layer unless either something's wrong or you specifically request it. Games and applications written in fuselage, they will use tile layers to output text. So I'll explain that later in the future videos coming up. The next video will be an introduction to the tile layers, give some theory on different ways to scroll and why some of the things I decided to do with this are going to be almost restrictive by nature, I guess is the way I would put it. It's going to seem like I'm intentionally creating limitations, but it's really not as limiting as it looks. And I'll explain that more in the upcoming video, but just leave it to say that this is trying to create a very much convincing hardware layer. If you're developing software using this, it's going to be very much like using some of the old game consoles where the tile layers have a very limited size, and I'll explain it more in the future, but the first video is going to be setting up the tile layers, an introduction to all of the functions, and some of the features and limitations, and how to get around them limitations, and why I introduced those limitations to begin with. But spoiler alert, it was for efficiency reasons. So we'll get into that more in a future video, but I just want you to know that I am working on these things, and there are snags because apparently I'm an idiot, and we learn from making mistakes, and you'd think as many mistakes as I've made, I'd know everything by now. So I will see you in the next video. In the meantime, have some sausage, drink some beer, play some games, and stay alive.